Hi, I'm Brian.
And I'm Bruce.
And this is episode 14, I believe, of Just Beneath the Surface.
Just Beneath the Surface, a tribute to Rod Serling, the original Twilight Zone series, which we both love.
We both love it. And Bruce, you had an idea a few years ago. You wanted to do a podcast or a YouTube series about the show. What did you want us to discuss?
I don't know. What did I want to discuss?
Well, this was your idea to do this show.
Oh, that's right. It was my idea. Sorry about that. I did 2 years ago. You know, it's in and out this way. But we wanted to do a thing about Twilight because we both liked it.
Both loved the original 1950 to 1963.
No, 1959 to 63.
59 to 63 edition. None of the remakes that have been done in recent years.
Not really.
None
Night Gallery was okay, but it's pretty good.
Anything made in this century that's got the name Twilight Zone on it, don't watch it.
But Brian's a good pal of mine, and you know, sometimes he's like, you know, more than a pal.
No,
but no,
absolutely not.
No, absolutely not. But in any event, we wanted to do something where we can talk about the Twilight Zone, and maybe reach other people who like to hear about the Twilight Zone, and maybe just do it a little differently. Related to current events if we can.
Exactly. And today, you know, we're doing episode 14, and we decided to shake it up just a little bit. We're coming to you from Bruce's basement. As you notice, all of these plants behind us, they're perfectly legal. So
for the most part.
Anybody watching at home, please don't call your local police. This is all good. But anyway.
And just remember, in the state of Virginia, it's okay to adult share.
And Bruce, before we really get into this episode, we'll talk about it in a minute. I want to take a moment to address an actor by the name of Earl Holliman.
Oh,
now,
very good.
Longtime viewers of this show, and I'm talking to you folks in Singapore. In Yang, by the way, that's welcome.
What's that?
In Yang.
In Yang.
Welcome in Mandarin. What we were going to say was Earl Holliman. You all remember we talked about he was in the very first episode of the Twilight Zone.
I love that. Oh, I love a lot of them, but I really.
It's called Where Is Everybody? And in our very first episode, Bruce talked about that episode at great length. And then about 5 episodes later, Bruce totally forgot that he had already discussed it, and he went off on a whole segment on it.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, you know, we talked about this already, right?
What's that?
Anyway, Earl Holliman passed away just a couple of days before we recorded this, and he was 95 years old. He's most famous for 2 things, besides the Twilight Zone, of course.
Okay.
He was on a show in the 70s called Policewoman with Angie Dickinson.
Remember that,
one of her co-stars. And he was also in a fantastic movie from the 1950s called Forbidden Planet.
Whoa!
Yeah.
He played the cook or something.
He was the cook, and his co-star in that movie, Robbie the Robot, was in 2 episodes of The Twilight Zone, if you remember.
That is correct. And also that was Forbidden Planet was Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen.
And who's the blonde girl in Forbidden Planet?
That I don't remember.
Okay, but he was good.
Earl Holliman, rest in peace. He was 96 years old. And I just discovered this reading his obituary the other day. He was married, he had an alternative lifestyle, and he married a gentleman who was also on the Twilight Zone. They were in 2 separate
Robbie the Robot?
No, I don't know about that. But they were in 2 separate episodes. I can't think of the guy's name. I'll have to look it up. But
what episode?
I'll put it right down here in the comment who he was and which episode he was.
There's nothing up top there, that's why.
And by the way, while we're on that subject, if you're new to the show, please subscribe. You know, you've got a notification right there, so take advantage of that. And
like us.
And if you want
to don't like us, but you can love us even.
If you want to comment on anything we say in this episode, feel free.
Comment.
And
hit
Bruce,
us with it.
Now that that's behind us, let's talk about the episode. A lot of you have requested that we discuss a specific episode. In fact, I've got a text here from a friend of mine. By the way, if you
his one friend,
if you would
and it's not me. I'm telling you that right now.
If you would like to submit a question to us for use in a future episode, just send $50 to our producer Mark, and he will make sure that question gets on the air. Yes. But our viewer says
$50. I thought we said 100.
50. Well, it's our Black Friday sale.
50. Oh, okay. Black Friday.
So the episode
or White Friday.
The episode that we're talking about is called The Masks, and it comes from season 5. It's actually one of the final episodes. And
1963 May, I think, somewhere around there.
And unless those of you at home thought that Bruce was wearing a fancy tie today, he's actually wearing the character of Jason Foster.
Jason Foster.
Tell us about him, Jim.
Jason Foster was kind of the star of the movie. He's an older gentleman who's passing away. He's near his death's bed as the episode starts out. And his son's wife.
Well, not the son, his daughter.
His daughter Emily, and his son-in-law, and then their kids. They come to visit him. You know,
it's Mardi Gras.
Right, it's Mardi Gras. I almost went to Mardi Gras once, but that's another story.
I have to admit, until I rewatched this episode the other night, I always had this I mistakenly believed it was a New Year's Eve party. I don't know why I thought that, but it's like, oh, it's actually Mardi Gras, and it makes more sense.
Maybe the New Year's Twilight Zone episode.
Maybe that's because they show it, yeah.
Right.
But it makes more sense that they'd be wearing masks on Mardi Gras
That is
in
true.
New Orleans, and that plays into the story.
So they all visit him, all four of these people, and you think they're there to say, "Oh, Granddad, Dad, we're sorry you're sick."
Terminal. He's terminal, and they know it.
Terminal, and he's going to die soon. The doctor.
He's richer than Trump.
He's rich. Who?
He's richer than the president.
Okay, he's richer than Brian too.
Yeah.
And he's loaded. Let me tell you. In more ways than one.
And you got four people there, like Emily, his daughter. Oh,
Emily,
Father, I'm
always
so
sick, always complaining about her health.
I'm just so, I'm just trouble getting here. Oh.
That's pretty good.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
And her husband is Wilford, and Wilford is like, oh, Father, I earn a little, I lose a little. Business is so.
And he's a greedy son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And he makes a lot of money. And the the grandson, he
Wilford
loves
Jr.
Wilford Jr. is the guy who gets his knocks or pleasure out of torturing little animals.
Right, like Bruce when he was younger.
Yeah, that's true. No, I didn't do it. Well, we had what we call a spider farm, but that's another story.
Yeah.
So, and then there's the granddaughter, Paula,
yes.
who is always sitting around. I think I have it right here. She's vain, and she's sort of like using one of these and kind of touching up. How do I look?
Quick little sidebar. A couple of weeks ago, I met Deidre Hall at a convention. And
Deidre
Hall from daytime television, and I met her at a convention. And she kept doing that. She kept pulling every time I'd get a picture or somebody would get a picture, she'd pull the mirror out and so. And she had somebody in the photography room doing her hair in between every photo.
Oh my God, it's kind of like Carrie Fisher. Remember we met her?
Yes,
she was always like this, and the sprinkles and all that. But anyway, going back, so those four visit Jason Foster there, and he's on his terminal, and you hope that they're all there to be nice to him and say, well, we're going to miss you. Like most people when someone's passing away in their family, except for me, because I'll die alone, like in the coffin and paupers, which I like, me and Uncle.
Yeah.
But even, it turns out that they're all there to get what?
They want the money.
They want the money, and they can't wait for this guy to die.
They're just putting on airs, as my kinfolk would say.
The masks.
The masks.
The masks, the hiding.
They're just, they haven't, that's a good analogy because they haven't put the masks on yet, but they're still hiding their real feelings.
Right.
But Jason's
what's inside of them.
Yeah.
But Jason's hip to that, as they say, back in the 60s. And so he gets these 5 masks, and each one depicts what each one is on the inside.
Right.
Makes it look. And Jason is going to have a mask of death.
And since this is New Orleans, we're told that these masks were made by a Cajun, a voodoo woman.
Right.
We never see this person.
He's like the Encyclopedia Britannica or something over here. This guy is good.
I just know how to read.
Oh,
so could it have been Mary Laveau, famous voodoo Cajun of New Orleans? We don't know. It's entirely possible.
I'll just let him carry on. I'm done. He's too good.
But anyway, Jason has acquired these 5
What's
masks.
a tachyon particle?
That's what's something involved in time travel.
Okay, very good.
That a lot in Star Trek.
See, you can't fool him. But anyway,
it moves faster than the speed of light, I think.
Very good. It does. So, to get onto it, how do we relate this maybe to current events?
Tell us about the mask. What are the masks?
Oh, the mask is going to show what the people are on the inside. Because, it happens in everyday life. We don't show who we really are on the inside. We make up things or even like Thanksgiving today. You go to a big party family and you go up to your aunt or someone goes up, oh, I love you, how you doing? And like 5 seconds later you see more, I can't stand that bitch. I can't, and that's, and so they're not showing their real selves. They hide behind a mask. And
so somehow these masks, we haven't seen the ending of this yet, but somehow the masks are going to reveal
their inside and portrayed on their faces, so that the world can now see what they really are on the inside.
And we assume that everybody watching this has seen the Masks episode because so many people, so we're not spoiling anything here.
No, we never spoil anything except for one thing. What's that?
Dinner?
Yes. Okay. Well, sort of dinner. It's but anyway, so it goes on.
Jeffrey brings the masks in. Jeffrey is the assistant and the butler. He's Jason's butler.
That is true.
And you couldn't do Jeffrey in today's world, but that's all.
No, that's true. He's like from the zombie movies of the 30s and 40s.
Yes.
They did it back then. But anyway, you should do that rather than whatever.
Whatever.
But anyway.
In any event, the masks come in.
Right.
And what does Jason
He goes, hey, we're going to have a little party. We're going to wear these masks. And Paula's like, I thought I could meet a nice gentleman friend because I'm so beautiful. And I don't know if any of you know people like that just live in a mirror and stuff.
In all fairness, Paula, the actress who plays her, is very pretty. She's like in her 20s. She's a little brunette.
Yeah, relatively.
I think so.
Well, different taste, different,
Yeah.
you know.
Of course, this was made in the 50s. So
By the way, speaking of girls and girlfriends.
Okay, anyway.
We're not going to say anymore.
The masks, he has a condition. He says, don't worry. You know, you're going to inherit everything.
Right, because they're all like, we're not playing your game, Granddad. We're not going to wear those stupid masks like the son-in-law says.
Yeah. But what's his proviso?
He says, if you don't wear them, all you get from my estate is train fare or bus fare back to Boston. Boston. Wicked hardcore, where I'm from. Patriots, go, go, go.
So then it's Wilford Sr., the son-in-law, who says, oh, well, we don't want to be party poopers, Father. Of course we'll put on these masks for you.
He is very good.
No problem, no.
Right.
And so he bevies up to the bar, and he's the first one to put his mask on.
And so eventually they all put the mask on, and so they're wearing. But then as the episode goes on, they're like, oh, I can't stand this anymore, Father. I'm suffocating. And it kind of tells you something. They go, oh, it feels like it's pressurizing my face and all this kind of stuff. And I want to take them off. I'm taking them off. And Wilford Sr. goes, don't take them off. No, because, you know, if they take them off, they lose the inheritance.
They lose the stocks, they lose the bonds, they lose the mansion that he lives in.
Right, so once again,
the empire.
It's already coming out what their inside is really about. They can give a crap about their dad. They just want dad to be dead.
And as you can see right here, Jason has his own mask on. You know, it's the mask of death.
Yes, and I'm looking. If anybody has a robe like this, send it to me, courtesy of our producer, Mark. And that would be good. So, and then, as it goes on, they eventually get to near midnight. And what happens at midnight?
Well, Jason takes his last breath, I'm afraid.
Yeah, he goes, now you've all finally got what you came here for. Because he knew why they came. And he goes, and he dies.
Very good. That was very good.
Yeah, yes. I've seen it many times. And he dies. And then Wilford Sr.'s like, goes over and checks his pulse. He goes,
yes!
No. He goes, he's dead. He's dead! Let's celebrate!
Finally, the day has come!
And he rips off his mask.
But we don't see his face. We see the reactions of the other three.
The three who have their masks still on.
Still have their masks
and it's kind of like, oh my God! And it turns out that the masks, which are horrific looking, that now their face without the mask looks just like the mask.
Just like the mask. So in the hours they've been wearing these masks, their faces have been transformed.
By the Cajun magic. And also by the righteous justice of Jason Foster.
That is true.
So now they're all stuck with these looks for the rest. They may be rich.
Now, but here's where I have to say there's a couple of flaws with this idea right here. I always have to be the one to rain on your parade. Finish your thought.
How you gonna? Oh, I was going to say. Now you have the choice. Would you, if you want to comment or something, would you rather be filthy rich, but your face is transformed into the most ugliest thing where people go, which is horrible because it should be beauty eye beholder. We go, oh, you're so ugly, which happens in our society. You're so ugly. Or would you rather be beautiful but be dirt poor?
But anyone with an IQ above any of these plants behind us can figure out two ways that they can fix this problem. Two.
Boink.
There's two ways. One,
Boink.
They've got all the money in the world. They could easily hire plastic surgeons and have the faces done.
You don't know that from the Cajun magic because they could cut it and maybe it'll ooze out acid like an alien's.
Then there's the second aspect. With all this money, they could then go find a Cajun to make masks that look like their original faces. And then they could get them back. See, there's any number of ways they could undo this damage, so it's not...
This is called raining on my parade.
Exactly, that's what I'm here for.
I guess that's possible, but it's also possible that, I got $1 million.
Yeah. Now, where I was going earlier, we did get a viewer question in anticipation of this episode, and Bruce, I'm going to throw this to you.
Hope I can answer it without raining on his parade.
Yes. My friend Tom, he wants to know...
Excuse me.
Oh, I'll let you finish your big gulp first. What can today's audience learn from the lessons in masks?
That's a good question. Oh, yeah.
You had an answer when we were rehearsing.
We don't rehearse, as you can easily tell.
Yes, we did. You knew it then.
I don't remember that far back.
Okay.
But anyway, what I'm going to say is that
Plants.
everybody wears masks, whatever they're doing. And I would point out in today's society that I watch a lot of ID Discovery where it's true crime, see no evil, all this. And I tell my friends and everybody, don't be scared of life, but just watch out for different people and situations you get into, because there's a lot of people out there who want to do you no good, but they're wearing a mask. Mm-hmm. And they might treat you like a friend. They might
could be your boss.
Could be your boss.
Could be your next door neighbor. Could be your podcast partner.
Right. And I'm not saying they're necessarily just going to, right. Took a while for that to sink in. These two brain cells are rubbing up against each other like this going, Bruce, understand that. Bruce.
I think you're a little closer to Jason today than
yes, I wish I was Jason. So, it's like today, and people wear masks and all, but they may not want to kill you, but maybe they want to screw you over at work.
Right, exactly.
Or maybe they want to screw you over in the neighborhood, or make rumors about you. And so, but they wear a mask when they come up to you and say, "Oh, my buddy Brian, I had good friends," and they never can. I mean, I'd rather have somebody come on and say, "Bruce, I can't stand your fucking guts," and you're an idiot doing this and that, rather than pretend and wear a mask. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing I would say. Just learn in today's, and you people already know it. The people wear masks, and listen. I wear a mask. You wear a mask.
Yeah.
I think we're not some gods or something. Everybody wears a mask, but just be careful out there, especially for not really bad people and stuff. And I would say that's what I get sort of from this thing, but more so on the maybe not killing side, but just when people kind of screw you over a little and kind of and. Just watch yourselves out there and try to be able to gauge what people are like and that sort of thing.
So it's a 1963 episode that is still relevant today because people are always wearing masks.
And that's what we love about Rod Serling. That his socio, thing was that they could tell. And this was written by Rod Serling.
Rod Serling and directed by Ida Lupino.
The only woman to direct the thing, which. I probably shouldn't say the only woman.
But she got her start directing Gilligan's Island.
What?
She did. She directed
all episodes?
Not all of them. No, Richard Donner was also a
and Lupino was in a lot of movies with Humphrey Bogart.
She was. She played in the 16mm Shrine episode of Twilight Zone. She was the actress in that one.
Excellent catch right here.
Yeah.
So just watch out for people wearing masks these days. And I'd say to you also, don't wear a mask yourself if you can, and show your true emotions. The Kinks sing a song about true emotions. It's great. Just show your true emotions to people. And I know you don't always do that if you're going out on your first date or you're going to interview for a job, or you always put your best foot forward and don't show what you're maybe really about until like 2 years later.
Like somebody running for office, they're going to tell you one thing while they're running, but then that's because they've got the mask on.
But do you have an example of that?
Well, we won't. We're not a political show here.
No,
we're
not.
Talk about the Twilight Zone and things like that.
Yes, that's true, but
we'll keep it minimal.
Minimal.
Yeah.
So, but that does happen in politics sometimes.
Exactly.
And
politicians lie all the time.
I mean, if one more person says, I'm going to cut your taxes, it must have been said as much as I say, whatever. It's like all the time. And if everybody was cutting taxes since like the 1950s, we wouldn't have taxes now because each one would be cutting it down to nothing, which maybe they should if you see what. I'm not going to go into the fraud, waste, and abuse. But we love this episode of The Mask. We feel sad about Earl Holliman, that's for sure.
That's a waste, yeah, totally. 96 years old, he had a good run. Very first episode, and he was 96 years old.
I hope I make it to 95. At least when I'm 94, I'm going to say I hope I make it to 95.
And on that note, by the way, we hope that you'll all come back for episode 15, where we're going to discuss for the 8th time the episode "Where Is Everybody?" starring Earl Holliman, because Bruce just can't talk about that one enough.
It's like corn; you can enjoy it twice.
Anything else you want to say about the masks before we wrap it up, Bruce?
I just think it was a great episode, and I think Jason Foster hit it right on the thing. And I just say, as I'm getting up there, you should honor and respect your elders and all this, which I know it's a young culture and all this. So, but respect your elders. It was a great episode.
Yeah, well written. The dialogue back, I can't think of the actor's name, by the way, but a quick shout out to the doctor, Jason's doctor in the opening scene.
Yeah.
Jason, I've known you for 20 years. And the doctor, and Jason says to him, I pay you because I ask you a straightforward, simple question. You give me a straightforward, simple answer.
And that's like no masks.
Right.
And that's where
that sets it up right there. It's what Jason respects.
And I think that's one of today's morals. That's where you get a true friendship. or a true marriage, or a true employee-employer thing, sort of thing, where you tell each other exactly what you feel.
I'm willing to tell Bruce that he looks silly wearing that doll on his neck.
And I know I do, but hey, I'd rather be silly than not.
Okay. Well,
did it come out right?
I think so. But anyway, I think it's time to wrap up this episode. So what do you want to say, Bruce, in conclusion?
Hey, like us, subscribe. We'll see you on the next episode. And if you have any ideas about which one we should do, which episode, Twilight Zone,
leave a comment in the comment section.
Send it in, and we'll jack it up and get going. And God bless our people in where?
In Singapore, in Yang.
Enjoy Thanksgiving and Christmas.
See you next year.